It's time to get some SportSense. You're gonna get some SportSense. You better get ready for SportSense. SportSense.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to SportSense. This is a show for people who don't care about sports but want to know what's going on and participate in society around us. I'm Cooper Epps. I'm an advertising art director, and I don't know anything about sports, even though, well, I know a little bit, even though, because you did raise me on them, Dad. But This is my dad, as always, James Epps, our sports expert.
Hey, Coop.
I got to give a little warning to the people here and say, look, I don't edit our episodes too heavily, but I do edit them a little bit just to make it a little less painful for you guys to listen to. But tonight, you get what you get, okay? I'm on dinner duty. I've got to work more after this. I've got projects due tomorrow, and Dad's a sleepy guy these days. We got to get him to bed.
I am sleepy when it gets into the evening pretty late. That's for sure. Yeah, you got chicken cooking duty, so.
That's right. So we're making our famous, not our famous. It's actually, I'm actually stealing it from Keaton and Ashton's blog, but shredded barbecue chicken, and we put it on chips to make nachos. It's good stuff.
That's good stuff. All right.
So if any of you guys are interested, text us and we'll send you the recipe. But today we're starting episode 22, and it is a big one because yesterday was just what we talked about last week, Selection Sunday for the March Madness basketball tournament. So big deal in the sports world. I saw some chatter online about it I want to ask you about, but I'll let you kind of launch us into it and tell us what, I don't know, what's going on. What's the pulse? What are you hearing?
Yeah. First of all, happy St. Patrick's Day, right? Green. I don't always hit it. I know I don't always get it, but I got it. You didn't leave the house today, did you?
No.
You worked out of the house today.
I stayed safe. Yeah, stayed hunkered down here because I do not have a lick of green. I've always told people I got green in my eyes, though. You don't have that going for you.
No, I do.
I at least have that.
I don't think there's a blue day out anywhere, but all right, real quick. This is great. I mean, I want to read you, which I rarely do, but Jay Billis is a former Duke player. Remember Jay Billis? He's all over ESPN. Oh my gosh. Jay Billis got his law degree after playing at Duke, played pro some, but he's like the total brainiac of ESPN basketball, college basketball particularly.
Is he a commentator these days?
Yeah, commentator and writes a lot. He does some really good pieces. But Jay Billis, like everybody knows. I mean, yeah. Jay Billis he's one of the key players in terms of commentators, prognosticators, everything.
He's one of the key players in commentating, not playing, just to not distract, just to not confuse the listeners.
Correct. He used to play many moons ago, like in the 90s, I guess. They won national championships with Jay Billis. He was a really strong power forward. I mean, I remember him very well.
So what's up with this guy? Why are we talking about him?
So what we're talking about is he always puts out his picks, right? But I want to read something because this sets the quick foundation for us, okay? Fitting for one of the craziest, most interesting basketball seasons on record. Now, he just had said something before that he basically said, this year, though, the field is full of question marks, inconsistent teams, and injury questions, coin flips, educated guesses, and head scratchers. So basically, he's saying it's a crazy year. There's no dominant team this year. I mean, there's 4 top seeds, but there's like last year, UConn looked like an NBA team kind of playing against a lot of college teams, and they won the national championship. They just looked that much better.
They were a clear favorite.
Yeah. Yes, and this year not so fast, right? And I'll go over a couple of the reasons why. But I just wanted that to say this is like probably one of the top guys predicting, and at least for sure knowledge about every stinking team almost. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Does he have a track record of correctly guessing winners?
Well, he has a pretty darn good percentage of total. Cool. Anyway, so here's a couple of parts that make up that craziness. The 4 that we said, so the top 4 seeds. So top seeds, right? There's 4 regionals.
We talked. Duke, Houston. I can't remember the other 2.
Auburn and Florida. They were okay.
Right.
So
Okay.
what's interesting, we know Duke's from the ACC. So this is hard. This is a day of mourning almost for me. The ACC, Atlantic Coast Conference, the one I grew up with, the one we dominated college basketball for decades. We were like the preeminent conference.
Right. Duke, UNC.
See,
I don't know
NC
about
State, well, a
NC
lot. Wake Forest,
Yeah?
well, yeah, State's had a couple national
Okay.
championships. Wake Forest. I mean, we've had, oh man, Clemson at times. We've had Georgia Tech, Bobby Crimmins era, his coach, Bobby Crimmins. You were hardly born, but I'm just telling you. So we've had decades and decades. Now we have been sliding down that proverbial terrible. Now it's turned into a cliff. We have fallen off the cliff. So I'm going to give you a comparison. It's going to blow your mind. Now, conferences have grown huge, right? A lot more schools. So this is probably an easier record to break. But the ACC had what I call, now when your brother-in-law hears this and your brother, the outcast Carolina fans,
Right.
we had only three legitimate teams made it. Carolina squeezed in as one of those ones I told you, that final play-in. They make you play one game before you can get into the field of 64.
Yeah.
They were the very last team. They were the very last one of the last four that had to play each other to get in. But as your brother-in-law texted me back after I made comment about this, was, well, at least they're in. Of course, this year is a terrible year for me to say. State didn't even make it into the ACC tournament because they dropped the lowest three now and they fired the coach. So we're done with that. So, but Carolina, so we have 4 ACC teams. Okay.
Just to get distracted on that for a second, that was some of the chatter I did. It's coming. Just get ready. I did see some chatter online of I saw apparently some commentators said it was a disgrace that UNC
absolutely
eked their way in like that.
Oh my gosh, West Virginia governor. The state of West Virginia is calling conspiracy because the head and the optics aren't good. The head of the whole committee this year, the selection committee, is the AD, athletic director for UNC.
So,
optics aren't good, right? Optics aren't very good on that one. But anyway, but he had recused himself about that. But yeah, that's funny. Anyway,
what does recuse mean?
Recuse means it's like a judge or somebody recused, they pull themselves away from the trial or pull him away from that decision making.
Oh, so he claimed that he wasn't involved in that decision.
Exactly. That he had no say on that one.
I'm sure. Yeah.
So you know how Chapel Hill is. But anyway, so what I'm leading it to you is it's just disheartening. So we had 4. And again, I say 3 1/4 or 3 1/2, but we have 4 get in there. The Southeastern Conference, the SEC, which is, I've told you before, is the greatest football conference that there is.
Yeah, it's
basketball used to be pretty good, but not the best. Guess how many teams they had selected?
Ooh, I don't know. I don't know how many are in a conference. 10?
No, their conference, I don't know, they got probably 24 in that conference now, 22, maybe 22. I can't remember, but
so
20,
10 made it in. That's my guess.
All right. So 14 teams set a record from the SEC. So ACC, 4.
Yeah.
SEC,
barely.
14. And might I add, I got to break that down real quick. Of those, 4 of those 14 were top 2 seeds, like number 2 seeds, which is great. And then 6 more were top 4 seeds or better.
So they weren't, not only did they all get in, but they were all really good this year.
Right. They had 10 of their 14 are top 4 seeds or better.
Wow.
So there's dark days right now in the Atlantic Coast Conference. I mean, this is dark times.
Is it migration of talent, or like, are there higher scholarships being offered down there? Like,
I can't sing, but do you know the song? Money, 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 money. All right.
Know that song.
You don't know that song?
I mean,
you got to look it up and play it. Money, money, money,
money.
Money.
By ABBA? Oh, by ABBA.
No. Well, no. Who else? Keep looking for more like older versions. See if they'll say something.
Song?
While you look that up.
Meryl Streep? No, that's from, was probably from
that's a movie or something. Yeah. Oh my gosh, what's the
Swedish?
Oh, let me think.
Benny Anderson? No, what the heck? I don't know what I'm looking at.
Oh, hang on.
I told people we're going to edit this episode, so sorry everybody who's
all right. We'll keep going.
Oh, is it the OJs?
That was the original.
Okay, do you hear that?
That's it.
Okay, this must be the original.
Play it. Got to get to the. I sounded just like that, didn't I?
Yeah, angelic. Okay.
All right. So you ask. I just gave
yeah.
you the answer, right?
So the scholarships are bigger in the SEC, right?
There's
now.
no longer
That's the answer?
scholarships. It's the NIL money, name, image, and likeness.
Right.
It's pro college basketball is what it is. So I do think that they were way ahead of the game. Their boosters, think of how built they were for football boosters, right?
Yeah.
Biggest in the country, most money in the country. And they were able to start moving that and sliding that over to the college ranks. Anyway, so that's some of the biggest reasons. We just as a conference, our schools were not keeping up. They just didn't keep up early on with this, but they'll catch up. But just know that's a big thing in this year's. Just remember, that's one of the big differences. The crazy, that's a record. All of those are records. 14 at one time, 4 top 2 seeds, 6 top 4 seeds are all records ever in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah. Wow.
Pretty cool. Pretty
well. Is that something that's are people upset about that, or is there any feelings about that?
No, I don't think so. I think that they earned it. I mean, they're all so good, almost so good. So interesting. Top seeds, Duke. Duke was just a high flyer, looked great, but I told you what happened during the first few minutes, the first game of the ACC tournament. Cooper Flagg rolled his ankle.
Oh,
and their big guy had a shoulder separation. But
I don't know if we did talk about that.
No, we probably didn't get. No, we didn't get a chance because they played last.
Okay,
they started on Wednesday and Thursday.
Whoa,
so that happened to Duke.
How are they doing now?
Surprisingly, they still won the ACC championship.
Wow!
And I can't get in that. We're going to sound so biased, and we stink so bad this year. I can't spend much time on the ACC. But Duke did power through that, and he didn't play. They're trying to help him recover for this tournament, right? And but Carolina was down by, I don't know, 15 or 17 maybe they were the championship game. Carolina Duke, so great rivalry. They were playing for the ACC championship. Carolina came all the way back. It's so heartbreaking. We were actually at Chris and Ashton's house watching this, and they had a chance to tie the game on a free throw with just a matter of a few seconds. And for some reason, the guy on one of the members of their team, he stepped into the lane before he released the free throw. So they had to wait. He missed the first free throw that would have tied it. And he made the second one, but they had to wave it off. And that cost him the game.
Stepped in early.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh, he was sick. He was literally crying, tears, just sobbing with a towel over him after the game, and they had to help him off the court. He was so hard. I mean, anyway, but anyway, that's crazy. So Duke still won an ACC championship, not without crazy excitement. But anyway, so is there really some of that? Those are the big highlights.
Wait.
Yeah. I mean, I got more. But
UNC barely crawled into the bracket though, but they were good enough to almost beat Duke in the championship.
Duke minus 2 starters, minus the NCAA player of the whole United States.
But they also played their way all the way up to the championship match.
Yeah.
So I mean, it doesn't sound like they're all that bad.
I didn't say they're bad, but what I was telling you about the governor of West Virginia was West Virginia. There's a formula that these guys use that they talk about. They call them quad 1, quad 2 wins. Quad 1 means they've had the team you beat had X amount of wins, or they're ranked in the top 20, stuff like that. And Carolina only had 1 quad 1 win.
Okay.
And West Virginia had like 9 or 10.
Gotcha.
I mean, there's some pretty big differences. So anyway, but having a governor get involved is pretty funny. I mean, he was fired up, man. You had to go look at that. He's not happy. But anyway,
governor, you think would have some more important things to tend to, but
not the West Virginia governor. They need they need all the pride they can get. I mean, sports are very important to them. That's for sure. So, as I said, no total dominant team. There's a dominant conference. So, with that many in the tournament, there's a good chance one of them will win it. So, just curiosity, Billis, I looked through his whole thing. He's picked Florida to win it. That's what he picked.
Oh yeah, coming all the way back to
Jay
Billis.
Yeah, Jay Billis. He picked Florida. He went chalk, man. He went chalk. He's got Auburn, Florida, Duke, Houston in the Final Four. So that's chalk, man. But to
Right.
get there, he had a couple upsets. I want to say BYU, I think they got a good seed and a good region. Not bad. They're playing Virginia Commonwealth, VCU. They're the 6th seed. And I think they've got a chance to win. They'll win I feel like, unless they just totally flake out, they'll win the first game. And the problem is, this is the problem. I shouldn't say they were in a good region. They play Alabama, probably their second game. Now, I think they can. I mean, it's probably going to be 100 to 105 the score because Alabama runs it up and down, scores a lot of points. But they got to beat VCU first. Don't get me wrong; they got to beat VCU first. But if they do, their prize is to play Alabama. More than likely. And,
which they're one of those SEC teams that you're saying are playing really well this year.
And they are so good and physical. Okay. But I mean, you never know. BYU go out there and hit 18 threes again and play good defense, and they could beat Alabama. They could, but
they've been on a hot streak, that's for sure.
And I wanted to bring you, and maybe I don't think by next week, because next time we talk, there's only going to be the Sweet 16. But maybe we'll have a Cinderella team. I've looked. I can't tell. I even looked at all of Jay Billis. I mean, I went by every one of Jay Billis's picks today. And he has categories. What's the likelihood of an upset, right? High, medium, low. Okay. And then he has Cinderella, question mark on some of them. And he really didn't have any Cinderellas for me to pick. One that I thought maybe could be, he's got Grand Canyon beating Maryland.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah, that's an interesting. Grand Canyon apparently that'd be my one pick of all that he said. So remember that Grand Canyon.
Weird.
It sounds crazy.
I've only heard of them like once in my life. That's funny that they're such a possible.
They're a Cinderella. They can play some ball.
Okay.
They can play some ball. So that's kind of the story. I mean, there's all sorts of storylines, but
yeah, I mean, you kind of answered my question, but yeah, I was wondering if I have two questions. So one of them was, is there a sneaky team that everybody's kind of rooting for? Like it's kind of like Rudy, the movie Rudy, like, oh, like they're so, I don't know, there's some sort of magic X factor to them. And everybody kind of hopes they defeat Goliath, or is that Grand Canyon? Or?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I just think that's one of the better teams. I'm looking down and think who may be right there in your home state, Utah State. He's got Utah State as an upset win in the first round to beat UCLA.
Yeah. That's what my father-in-law was saying, is that they're doing pretty well. Yeah.
So Billis has got them. That's one of his upsets, the first round to upset UCLA. So that's a cool one. Cool. Other than that, let's see. I really don't see anything else.
Okay. Well, it's okay. Let me give you my second question, which was not underdog, Cinderella, dark horses, all the terms that you've been teaching me.
Yeah. Right.
But just in general, is there like a clear, is there a team of the people, or is is everybody just loyal to their schools? But you remember how this past football season, you were telling me how the Detroit Lions have been winning everyone's hearts across the country. Is there a team like that that's just like kind of like DJ Burns last year with NC State, just like win your heart because they're just so endearing?
Well, the top teams, I'll tell you one, they're hated, and that's Duke. So that's the hated team. That's always the hated team, it seems like.
Okay.
I haven't seen, you know what? I think we'll probably have to get the Sweet 16 and see somebody that does something. That's the whole point.
Okay.
They get endearing because they pull off a couple upsets and we get to know them. They do all the profiles. Then I think we'll have something to talk about. I sure don't have, I gave you the couple little predictions that, Utah State and Grand Canyon, only because they could be upsets on the win. I don't know the stories about all of them.
They got to prove themselves for a couple
there's
rounds.
no real stories out there that I know yet, but it comes out. That's one of the great things of watching it. We'll get it from, because they do such good dives, like BYU actually, I'm glad you brought that up. Brought up one of the, it's hitting. You never know, and it's your world. You all know it's hitting the cyberspace, whatever you call it, everything, all the social media. Did you hear about Dallin Hall for BYU?
It rings a bell. I don't know.
It's popping up everywhere, and it's because when they were playing the Big 12 conference, the Big 12 broadcasters are all doing research and homework and interviewing every player. And of course, BYU, was playing well until they ran into Houston and they didn't play so well. So that's the way that went. But when they interviewed Dallin Hall, who's like a 5th-year senior and he's not starting, he used to start for his 2 years. The talent is so much better, but he's still an important player, very important player. Well, he told him the story about his grandfather, who has the patent and invented tater tots.
No way.
Yeah. So they tell this whole story about his grandfather. Well, for some reason, that is taken off. And one of Bill's part of his article, it even says, but one of the guys says, yeah, my grandpa didn't invent tater tots or something. That's one of the other players being interviewed, right? Or something. You know what I mean? So it's kind of spreading out there. So listen out for the tater tot
That's hilarious
message. If you hear tater tot mentioned at all, it goes back to Dallin Hall,
Okay.
who shared that during the Big 12 conference.
I like that tip. That's good because, I'm sure some memes will be going around, especially if BYU starts winning.
Right. It'll grow bigger and bigger as it wins. I mean, you'll see tater tot graphics. I mean,
he's got to be from Idaho or have ancestry from Idaho.
It's got to be
with all those potatoes.
Got to be. He's got to be. I haven't looked.
Interesting. Okay.
So that's the fun thing. Yeah.
That's great. Okay, I think that's a great start to this bracket season. And
22 minutes, man. 22 minutes. We're doing good.
Yeah, we're we should start to wrap up, I think, so I can get back to
that, can I give you my 2 quick tidbits?
Or
do you got something?
Yes, just really quick while we're on the bracket note, I wanted to tell everybody that we started a SportSense bracket. I'm going to put a link in the show notes and I'll also put it up on our Instagram story. But join in and we can talk about on the podcast over the next few weeks who's leading the pack, who's bringing up the caboose. And
who's the deal? You and I are just doing one each, right? We're only doing one each for this.
I think I put 2 in, but I could take. Can you take it out?
So you already put no, we'll do it. So we're going to do 2, you and I, on this one.
Oh, 2? You mean 2 brackets?
Yeah, 1 or 2 brackets. Group. Yeah.
I said it as 2.
Okay, we'll do 2.
You can join
because we're going to do. Well, I'm just saying. I want to know because you and I are competing.
Oh well, shoot. Okay, well I have one called Cooper's Probably bracket. So I'll if we're putting one up as a competition, that's what I'll put up.
No, we'll play both of them. We'll see who.
My other one is my hopeful bracket, which is BYU winning.
Yeah,
and a bunch of upsets going on.
I'll do a little bit of the same for you. So I'll do one that's real serious, and the other one I'll do the fun stuff.
Okay,
because you guys still come back and do the Epps family one. You got to do that.
Right. I'll do a family.
Yeah, spread the word. Right, tell everybody spread the word. Let's get a decent amount in there so we can have some fun.
Exactly. So, and we can do a special shout out to whoever's leading us every week.
Absolutely.
In the polls. So go to the show notes or text me if you want a link. The password is just SportSense, all one word. So check the show notes and join our bracket group this March Madness season. Okay. That was my only shout out announcement thing, but Dad, let's go into your tidbits.
Daddy tidbits.
2 quick. Steph Curry made it over 4,000 3-pointers.
Right. Great. Yep. Good for him.
He's got, I think as of last night, you have 4,001. So just FYI, that completes our little setup for that.
All right.
And just because I love golf, one of my favorites won today. The Players' Championship is like, we can't have time, but it's like the 5th major. It's unofficially the 5th major. Like that's how important it is.
Okay.
It's down in Florida, and he won in a playoff today. And a playoff there is a 3-hole playoff. Problem is it had rained so bad and they had a 4-hour delay yesterday. And so they couldn't do it last night. Afterwards, they had to go back this morning, which is the first time they've ever had to do that from what I understand. And Rory McIlroy won.
You have mentioned him a few times here.
I like him. And he won. He hadn't won a really big tournament in quite a few years. So I'm thrilled. I loved it. It was great. That's it. That's all I got.
Go Rory. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, perfect, Dad. I have one mailbag question for us today.
Great.
Should be a simple one, but since we're starting basketball, I want to ask this one. This is we're getting to bringing back our lingo a little bit.
Okay.
And we had the BYU game on at work the other day.
Yes.
I think it was the one again. I can't remember. Oh, it was the other Iowa State one. And anyways, at one point we heard the announcer say something about a trigger man. And so, what is a trigger man? And
Trigger man.
basketball?
Yeah. The guy who triggers it in is usually the wording trigger man. They can say that. That's kind of unusual, but they can say it. So it's the guy that's going. So on an out of bounds play, the ref hands the guy the ball to throw it in. That's the man. That's the trigger.
Oh, so it's
He's
just whoever
winning.
launches it into play from the
Yep.
sidelines.
Yep.
Is that what you call it in basketball? Sidelines?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep. Sidelines and lanes. Yeah.
All right.
It's the guy who triggers. He triggers the ball. He triggers the pass. Triggers it in. Triggers the play.
Okay.
I never really called him a trigger man. I guess I've heard some people say that, but that's not my natural.
That-
But that's
yeah,
what
yeah.
it is. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that was that. I was watching with my two bosses for a minute, and so Phil wanted to know. So
Well,
there
tell
you go,
Phil that's what it is. Yep. We got it, Phil. Thanks
All
for the
right.
question, Phil. I just like
yes.
saying Phil. That sounds so cool here. I don't know why. Tell Phil
I
I
know
like-
there's so many puns that we've come up with at work for him. We have a couple guests lined up. I haven't scheduled dates for them, but everybody be looking forward to some fun episodes with some new guests soon. But otherwise, follow us on Instagram, subscribe on YouTube, and most importantly, share the good word if you wouldn't mind. If you know anybody who's interested in keeping up with sports at kind of this dumbed down level, for like I've been needing, send them this podcast, and we would love to grow the audience. So, okay, with that, Dad, let's sign off.
All right, Coop. See you, buddy. This was
See you,
great.
Dad.
SportSense.